Welcome back, YouTube. We're going to do a short video today around food relationships and the vicious circle of eating off plan even if you are gaining too much body weight. We've got Xena in action today. Xena's a very understanding dog, so she understands when people has problems, much like her mum, and likes to try and help them. So she's my version of that, I guess we could say. So people get a little bit confused, frustrated, whether that be potentially athlete to coach or coach to athlete or even just the person themselves. They can't understand as to why, if body weight is going up, that they still continue to eat off plan. And it's definitely something that I've come up against when I've had athletes that have worked with me. And I think that as coaches, you have to have an understanding that everybody is very different. Not everybody is going to see the food relationship and be able to sort it straight away. For some people, it takes time to undo habits that have obviously formed throughout their lives, if they're negative, or undo kind of a poor phase. So when it comes to competitors, we can talk about the post-show phase, where people tend to really struggle with being able to manage the hunger. Overeating becomes something, again, that we call a habit form, and then it's really hard to kick that. And then sometimes you end up in a situation where body weight is going up, you're getting frustrated about the body weight going up, you don't like how you look because you're getting out of shape, but you still continue to eat off plan. And that's essentially because it's really like comfort eating. Because you are feeling negative and feeling down about the fact that you don't look the way that you want to, that you don't weigh what you want to, things aren't going in the direction that you want, you turn to food as your comfort, because obviously that's something that for you brings you that comfort. And to undo that, it can take time and it does require patience. Especially if you're a coach, it requires a lot of patience, a lot of understanding, a lot of support, and understanding if someone takes a back step, that it's not something to get frustrated about, it's not something to have a go at your client about, it's something that you should want to help them understand potentially what's going on and maybe look to actually improve that. So if we talk about the comfort that the food brings, for people, if they struggle with their food relationship and they struggle with if they feel uncomfortable or they feel like they need the comfort, that's when they turn to food, because that's that happy feeling that it gives them. But then obviously 10 minutes later, I guess it's the guilt feeling or awful feeling that you do have when you've overeaten and you feel very uncomfortable in your tummy, etc. So it all becomes a real vicious cycle. You then think to yourself, I'm not going to do it again. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole where I start to overeat when obviously I'm feeling them feelings of feeling a little bit low. But it just becomes that vicious circle, like we said at the start of the video. The habits get formed and it's really hard to kick them. And in some places, in some cases, it can take years, months to be able to do it. But if you are adamant on wanting to make a change, and I think that the first form of being able to make a change is accepting that there's actually a problem. It's like when we talk about things like people that are alcoholics or potentially people that have got kind of drug abuse problems, the first point of being able to overcome that and get out of that vicious circle is accepting that there's actually a problem, starting to speak about it. If you start to speak about things, a problem shared is a problem halved. The more that you can talk about it, the less heavy it starts to feel, so that hopefully over time you can start to undo those habits. One of the best things that I found with working with lots of clients that have had problems with food relationships before, whether that be from being small and those habits forming then, even from the people that they've been around, potentially mums, dads that have also had issues that they've actually picked up as they've gotten older, or potentially when they've gotten older themselves and they've wanted that comfort and they've turned to food for that because they know that it makes them feel good, maybe when they do have that pizza or they do have that small chocolate bar, etc. But over time it just gets worse and it becomes more consuming, more kind of you feel focusing and thinking about the food all the time. It's about finding something that creates that comfort and nice and happy feel that they could potentially do when usually they turn to food. And again, creating those habits, much like what they've done with the negative habits of the food, can take time. It's not something that's going to happen overnight. If one occurrence where they feel that uncomfortable and want that kind of comfort and they don't turn to food, doesn't mean that it's never going to happen again, because the habits have already been formed. It's about creating that over time. Same when it comes to the undereating element. If somebody's had kind of an eating disorder in the past, undereating, restricting, etc., again, those types of habits take a long time to be able to undo. And the one thing that I will say about competitive bodybuilding is, if you are someone who highly focuses on food, and whether that be from an element of being consumed by foods that you want to overeat a lot, or that you want to restrict with foods, bodybuilding, competitive bodybuilding, should we say, is probably not the best arena for you. I'm not saying that you shouldn't be a bodybuilder. Bodybuilding is a positive thing. Eating well, training well, moving, hydrating, etc. All those things are great habits to have and to enjoy. But when it comes to the bodybuilding, which is very extreme, heavy pushing, heavy pulling in terms of foods, etc., it's very extreme. And when you have that extreme mindset of either overeating or under restricting, it just makes it worse. There might be some cases, 1 in a million, where it actually gets better, but bodybuilding, competitively, you are focused upon your food every day. You build your routine around the times that you can eat your meals. You get to 11:14, you know that you've got your meal in 20 minutes and you're like, oh, I need to be there at this time, and that's focusing on the foods. And I'm not negatively talking about competitive bodybuilding. I love it, and I enjoy the focus that I have on food, and the way in which I've been able to create meals and enjoy my food and the variety, etc. But not everybody has that freedom mindset when it comes to their food, and some people are very bogged down, and potentially you might be able to get over it and be able to compete and not get affected. But for most people, I don't think it's the best arena, like I say, to be there. But if we go back to trying to create some habits that we could form that are a little bit better than overeating, if you are someone who struggles with the uncomfortable feelings that you get and you're wanting to feel comfort and you get that through the food or the warm feel, etc., we need to try and find something that's potentially a little bit more of a positive vibes. So things like talking to your friends, talking to your family, talking to whoever it is that you live with, FaceTiming someone if you don't live with someone, speaking to colleagues at work about the problems, or even just about anything other than talking about food when you're starting to focus upon it, to try and get that mind off it. Doing some reading, getting your mind really stuck into a book. That's something that I do to help de-stress, decompose, etc. But the same thing, it could be something that helps you take that focus off the food. Getting out of your house if you live on your own, or if you're in your own little bubble. Going for a walk if it's daytime, going to a coffee shop, being somewhere where there's a little bit of noise, something of distraction, to try and help get that focus away from the food. Over time, things will get better. Things like that will help. Not every time it will help, but with patience and the want to get better, you can get better. If you have a coach and they aren't supportive of that, I would definitely have that conversation to try and help improve that relationship. To help you become better when it comes to your food focus, and so that hopefully one day you can actually get over it, feel better, and feel a little bit more in control of your mind, your body, and your actions. If you liked this type of video, please comment below anything else that you'd like me to cover. I'm always happy to cover anything. Please like, share, subscribe, all that fun stuff, and we'll be back again.